Welcome back to Restless. My name is Lauren Doyle. I'm a Catholic young adult from the Diocese of Bridgeport, Connecticut, and I am joined once again by my friends Grace and Tricia, and we are here today to continue telling you about our World Youth Day pilgrimage experience over in Lisbon a few weeks ago with the HOM community. Welcome, ladies. Thank you for coming back so we can continue sharing our stories.
Thank you. Happy to be back.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess, girls do talk a lot, but
Yeah, we do.
hopefully it's enjoyable.
We do.
Let us know in the comments. We do have an Instagram, Restless Catholic Media, Facebook. But no, yeah, so we had just gotten to the opening mass for World Youth Day at the Central Park, Eduardo VII Park, with 300,000 people. I think easily this is the largest mass that any of us had attended at that point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was that experience like for you, Grace?
I think it was for me, the first real experience of World Youth Day where I really understood the meaning of World Youth Day, seeing all the people and all the flags from all the different countries and knowing that they were my age or, younger or whatnot, but they were all there for Jesus and they were all there to praise God. It wasn't just a festival. We were all there because of our faith, all united in that front. And I think it made it, it was just so beautiful to see. And I really just think that the Holy Spirit was just working so much through that mass, just the sacredness of the music. And even though we were in a field, we were in a plaza field-ish park, yeah.
It was just filled with people, so you couldn't tell what the ground was.
Yeah.
It's pavement, who knew?
Yeah. It just was so beautiful. And
all the flags flying in the wind. That was something to see, too, because there were hundreds of them.
Yeah. Yeah. From every corner of the world.
Yeah.
Including Ohio.
There
was Ohio. The great Buckeye State was there. And I was so excited. I tried to follow them, but it became very clear that we were not allowed to leave the group.
Yes. No, we are not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it was amazing mass. And then, when it ended, we learned to do conga to get out of there.
We did.
So we held on to each other's shoulders because there's thousands of people trying to leave the same area at once. And we made our way and then we went back uphill.
We ran.
That's right.
We ran uphill.
We ran up the hill. That was a lot of fun.
Holding onto a conga line.
Yeah.
And for really no reason. We didn't need to
No,
run.
we didn't
I think
need
we
to
just
run.
wanted to.
So much
just
energy.
fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a blast.
And there soon became that little square on the left side of the road that just became our
Yes.
dance party circle.
Yeah, that was our
dance party
meeting
square.
spot at the end of every event that was in the area of that part of Lisbon.
And just
Yeah.
quickly turned into a dance party.
Oh, yes. We would immediately form a circle.
Yeah.
And somebody would start playing guitar and we'd all start singing and dancing. It was the best thing ever.
Yeah, just so much joy.
Yeah.
So great first day. I really was touched by that mass as well. And, that was something I was curious about going in. What is the mass like at that scale? And that one was special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tying into the theme that we were talking about last week with God just answering prayers throughout the trip and allowing us to just trust in him. So I'm celiac, so I can't have the normal host because it has gluten in it. So I have a low gluten host. And I was told that there was an umbrella with red on it, and that was the low gluten host, and I could not find it. And it was probably 15, 20 minutes of waiting, and I searched for it. And I went back down, I knelt down, I started to cry because I wanted to receive Jesus. And the sister beside me just held my hand, and I just started to pray Jesus, I really want to receive you. Please come to me. And all of a sudden, I just had this sense I should stand up and go to this spot. And so I stood up and I walked to the left, and there it was.
Amazing.
Yeah. And I just knew that God was just telling me, I've got you. I'm there with you. Just trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, another common theme.
Yeah, we felt it throughout. God was very present.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, the next day was America Day. You may have heard that Bishop Barron was there, and he gave this great adoration and talk, but we did not go to that.
We did not.
No, because we were with a community from Spain.
España.
Yeah,
España.
talk about being a child. When we like
Yes.
found out that we were
Yeah.
not allowed to leave the group, and I'm 25,
Yeah.
and I was like told that I need to stay there so they could watch and make sure that we were there. It was a very humble pill to swallow to be like,
Definitely.
I need to surrender to this group because they're who I'm with.
We're on a group trip.
Yeah.
We're doing what the group wants. Yeah.
I think there's something to that with obedience, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we had like in the normal way of life, like we had every right to go. Like we
Yeah.
were considered adults. Like we spoke that language. It was our culture. But
Yeah.
it was just like, yeah, we had to be obedient and
They were
surrender to
hosting
that.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had to be gracious to them in that.
Yeah, so that day we first went to a school, and it was formation, I guess, intended for people from Spain, right? It was in Spanish bishops. Now, I was in the bathroom line for the entire talk.
I was as well.
Were you really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I honestly,
as
didn't even need to be there, but I kind of ended up there. And it was like this deceiving hallway where, like, you
Yes.
think you're nearly at the bathroom, and then it actually opened up into a whole other huge room.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, I've committed this long. Like, I'm just going to stay here. But I was having a good time with Angela, and I think Cecilia was there as well. So I was like, all right, this is just where I'm at. So I missed the whole talk.
I think I heard maybe 10 minutes of it, and it didn't really make sense to me because it was just the end.
Yeah.
Did you hear it?
I don't remember what you mentioned.
Yeah.
That wasn't my highlight from the day, but
Yeah.
yeah.
No, but that's all good,
Graces
too.
from that.
And then we had Mass. And then from there, we had free time in that kind of central area downtown to get lunch, which at first was a scramble. Where to go? Like certain restaurants were hosting World Youth Day participants.
Pilgrims.
I guess, yeah, pilgrims. So there would be like a sign, JMJ. Turned out to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
To find a restaurant and get food, and
Each restaurant would have one or two meals that they had prepared just for pilgrims. So you couldn't change the options unless you wanted to pay. But I mean, they had a lot of options. A lot of restaurants participated with it, and then they would just scan. We had like these QR codes.
Yep.
And you would scan them, and then that's how you'd pay for the meal. It's pretty cool.
And then you'd just take your meal back and you'd find like the plaza with the fountain and like a beautiful basilica behind you. And you're just like, this is
Amazing.
fantastic.
yeah. And they also instructed us to get our dinner, so that we'd have it for the end of the night. Again, another bit of a scramble, right? Because not everyone followed directions. Me, I did not. I was sitting by the fountain. I think you guys went to go get food, and I was
Yeah,
like,
we did.
I'm not moving.
Yeah.
I'm sitting with the sister
We were even,
right
like,
now.
We were even like asking ourselves, we were like, aren't we supposed to get dinner? Like we
Yeah.
were second guessing ourselves the whole time because nobody else was moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we did. So we got the instruction, we got dinner, and then we walked what turned out to be along the water. Lisbon is surrounded by water. It's very beautiful. To this plaza where we had a concert.
We did.
The best
the
night,
Hakuna concert.
in my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
Grace, you really made it a lot of fun with your dancing.
Did I?
Yes, and you encouraged us all
Yeah.
to dance, and everyone did.
Yeah. I think that night was really freeing for me because it made me feel like a child again, which I haven't felt like in a long time. And it's fun. I love the joy of children. And it was really amazing to be able to feel like a child again and just to be free like a child and dance and have fun. And yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and the music was good. I mean, I was definitely apprehensive of the rapper from California.
Joey
like,
California.
Oh, my gosh, he's going to give Americans a bad rap here, totally. But he got the people going.
Yeah, he did.
He did. He knew how to hype a crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like comical, like clapping to Holy Spirit. Holy
yes,
Spirit.
that's the song.
But yeah, the people were into it. And then it, moved on to the feature group of the night, which is Hakuna, who apparently every Spanish Catholic knows really well.
Yeah.
And we are learning, and I'm continuing to listen to them.
I am too.
Yeah, trying to learn their music. So yeah, we just got to dance in this beautiful plaza on a beautiful evening, and our whole community was together. We stayed as a pact, and the brothers and sisters were with us, and just a lot of joy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the night that Jesus kind of came to me. Not like physically in the Eucharist, but there was it was maybe the third day. We still weren't in Portugal, but I was just like, I cannot wait until World Youth Day because I know at one point somebody is going to sing a praise and worship song in English, and I'm just going to yell it.
Which one was
And
that?
And I said specifically, I was like, I know somebody's going to start playing Lord, I Need You by Matt Maher. And when it does, I'm just going to scream. And we were at the concert and it was already going for like a little bit. And there was a group, I think from Asia, somewhere like that. And they introduced their songs in English. And I was like, oh, cool. Like maybe there might be a song that we knew. But then like most of their songs were in their native language. And at the very end, right before they were done, they were like, we have one more song. If you know the words, like join us. And they started like a really slow, like long guitar intro. And we're all like standing in a circle. And then they start like changing the notes. And I like grabbed Grace's arm. I'm like, this is Lord, I Need You. Yeah. And everybody's like, no, it's not. And I was like, this is Lord, I Need You. This is Lord, I Need You. And then they started like saying the first like two words like, Lord, I come. And I started booking it towards the stage. I was like, I confess. And I was just like, I've never like praised that loud before. It was just, like you said, like I was just so childlike. I had no other responsibilities. My one responsibility that night was just to dance. As much as I could in the restrictive space that we could with hundreds and thousands of other
like
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was incredible.
No, it's a great moment for sure. I really loved the dinner that night. So once the concert ended and we congoed out of there, right, with the people, we went back to our meeting spot and then we just sat down like on a stone wall and on the sidewalk and we just kind of formed different groups like really naturally and opened up whatever we had in our bags and then shared food amongst each other.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah, so on to the next day, which was Thursday when the Pope arrived.
Woo woo. Oh, great day.
So this was back in that Eduardo VII Park, and I heard there were 500,000 people in attendance. We stayed at a similar spot from where we were at the Mass a couple days prior, and there was a turn, where the Pope was going to drive. So we were right at the corner, and you two like staked out a fantastic spot.
Did.
Yeah.
We knew.
Yeah. Everybody was kind of just like standing a little far back, and I'm like, wait,
we have to go there.
That's the fence.
Now.
Yeah.
We need to be by the fence.
Yes.
Yeah. I actually left and I was like, I'm heading towards the stage. Because I was like, I knew we were going to be standing there for a while and I didn't want to just stand around. And I wasn't hungry. Like they told us we could eat lunch. So I just went straight up like the hill of the park. And I made it like 2/3 of the way to the stage.
Wow.
Did you see the stage?
I mean, yeah, of
Yeah.
course. But I mean, you could always see the stage, right? It was just like smaller and then it got bigger.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to climb over people because,
You did.
at every event, these World Youth Day events, people arrive early and you claim their spot and then they sit down. So it was like just body to body and like, excuse me, pardon, like pretending I'm Spanish, which I was, for that week. I don't know. It was just kind of fun to like go explore. I actually met a group from Wisconsin. Shout
cool.
them
That's
out.
really cool.
They were friendly. We had a nice
Yeah.
chat. Then I came back, joined you guys. We had a good view. Well,
did.
Francis didn't really look in our
He did
direction.
not. I saw his neck.
He
But he
barely.
was
He
there.
kind of
He
like
was there.
He's like, I'm gonna look towards you guys. No, I'm not. Went back to the other
Yes.
side.
He was even on a swivel chair where he could have done
Yeah.
it easily. Nope.
Yeah, swivel chair. But what was
there
that
was-
experience like for you? Like, was there any kind of feeling? Were you like excited? I don't know.
I always get starstruck in moments like that. Like I always get really excited. And then when it happens, I just like, I don't know what to do. Like even with like saint relics, like I'm excited. And then when it comes to prayer, I'm like, I don't know what to pray to you guys. But then it was everybody was like saying, he's coming. And like you could see like the excitement move in the crowd as he like drove through in the Pope Mobile. And so then it was finally coming of like, oh, it's like coming to us. Like my excitement just like built. And it was another like childlike experience to just be excited because like that's our Father of the church. Like that is the hands and feet of Jesus physically here on earth for us. And just to like scream out like, hi, Papa. Like I felt like a little kid. I was just like, hi, Papa.
Yeah.
And just like having that joy and excitement for just like 5 seconds. I was 20 feet within the Pope for a little bit. Yeah.
I have been to a couple motorcades with the Pope. I saw him in Rome and then in Philadelphia for the World Meeting of Families. And I think my first experience of seeing the Pope was kind of like that, very almost like starstruck and just very excited, like very joyful. And this time I was more focused on the people around me and watching the people around me because I couldn't see the Pope. I was behind some tall people, so I couldn't really see anything, but that's okay because I've seen him before. And I saw right in front of me, across the way, this little boy with Down syndrome, and he was watching the Pope, and he was so excited, just waving. And I think that's why Pope Francis was turned that way, because he saw him and he was waving to him as well. Yeah. And it was just so beautiful for me to see his joy, to see how much he obviously sees Christ in him, because he knows no other way. So it was just beautiful. I loved that. Yeah. What about you, Lauren?
Well, I remember asking you, is this about Jesus or is it about the Pope? Because I don't know. I wasn't into it, like, as we were all waiting. And you're like, it's about Jesus.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Like, I can get down with that.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any kind of, like, spiritual reaction, I would say, to seeing the Pope. It was, like, exciting, like, oh, here he's coming. And then, you see all these men walking, and there he is. And I held my arm up really high in the air, so I got a great video of it.
Yeah, you did.
But, yeah, it wasn't any, like, big moment for me, I wouldn't say. It was part of the experience. It was cool to be there and see, like, the excitement of all these other people.
Yeah.
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 I think there's something to that, Lauren, that you bring that up, because there are definitely moments in World Youth Day where, and I think just in life in general, where maybe somebody has an experience or you witness something in somebody else that comparison can come in, and then you feel almost robbed of that joy, of that gift that you feel like you deserve. And I don't know, I think that was definitely also something that was playing in my heart as well during World Youth Day, because there were definitely many moments where same thing as you, Lauren, I didn't feel anything. And, obviously our faith is not a feeling, but there are moments of consolation that God gives us. And comparing it just takes that away, because every person is different, and God meets us where we are, and he knows exactly what we desire and what he wills for us and what's best for us. And maybe I think it was Father Mike Schmitz today. I was listening to his podcast, somebody's podcast, and they were talking about how sometimes it was St. Thomas, how God appeared to St. Thomas later after the resurrection. And there was almost like this, he had this jealousy because he wasn't appeared to with all the other apostles, but Jesus came to him, and he later on, but he gave him that ability to grow in faith. Faith is, believing in something that you can't see, and he gave him that chance to grow in faith by not appearing to him first. And I think that, I don't know, it's just kind of cool to reflect on in that moment, because there were definitely moments of, oh, like that person experienced that and I didn't experience anything. And I think it's easy to get lost in that comparison, and then it takes away all of our joy and all of our graces.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I remember Brother Juan, the talk that we mentioned last week, when he was talking about like the different kinds of graces. I didn't even write it down. I thought I did, but it just like stuck in my mind. He said when he was talking about like how we each are going to get a diversity of grace in World Youth Day, like there's something specific for each of us that God wants to give us. I remember him saying, don't look at other people. I remember him saying that, like, don't, because he was talking about like comparison, saying how like when that starts, like then we like start demanding certain grace. We don't receive the grace that God wants to give us. And so I just remember him saying bluntly, don't look at other people. And so I like told myself throughout the week, like, don't look at other people. And that actually brought in like a lot of joy, because I was able to like focus on the grace then and like the emotions that I was experiencing, even if it was crankiness for a second. Like it started to see that even in those moments, that's a grace to be a little tired or to like be a little annoyed, because like we're still there, like experiencing the reality of God's life in us. Yeah. Somebody that I noticed when we were at the Pope's, like passing by, there was a father that had like a 3-year-old on top of his shoulders, and the boy was just like clapping. Like, what was the saying? I can't say it well in Spanish, but we are the youth of the Pope.
Esta es la juventud del Papa.
That's what
Yes. I forgot about that.
And everybody was like clapping. Like the little boy was just like clapping. And I was just like, I want to be that little boy. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of joy, lots of grace. I'm going to continue on to make sure we make it to the end of the trip.
We could talk forever.
Part 3.
But so Friday, the feature event was Stations of the Cross back at that same park. On this day, our group got split up into smaller groups. We didn't all arrive to the park at the same time. Yeah. I actually happened to spend most of this day alone, just by chance. Like, the morning walk, I was by myself. And then we briefly went to the City of Joy. We went into a beautiful cathedral, Church of Santa Maria del Belém, for a holy hour. That was probably the highlight of the day for me. Really
Great
peaceful.
job saying that.
Oh, and I also got to mention that my guardian angel hooked up with my spiritual director's guardian angel on this day, and Tonia showed up, and she was so excited to see her whole community. And I was so like down on energy because this whole trip was exhausting naturally, but I think that spiritual hour that we had just like mellowed me out. So I was like, so tired and done. Also, we were eating lunch on the side of like that church on the sidewalk. Like they were bringing in sandwiches and stuff because there was nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're like eating, we're hanging out. She showed up. It was nice to meet some of the people she was with. They were all decked out in their American gear. Yeah. But anyway, I ended up kind of getting separated. Like Grace and I were together waiting for the bus, but then she got on a bus and I didn't. So then we took this bus ride, and I was with a couple people from the trip. So it wasn't like alone, but it was a sister I don't know as well, and then an engaged couple. So we talked a little bit, in Spanish, which was fine. And then the walk in and then show up, I saw our flag. And so I kind of ditched the people I was with. Is that bad? Because I was like hoping to reconnect with my friends, because it had been a while at this point without being with them. And so I'm trying again, climbing over all the people sitting and laying on the ground, and I couldn't even make it to the flag. But then I realized there was nobody like from Ham there. It was like 7 people like from Ham. That was it. But by doing that, I had a view of a screen, whereas the rest of our community was down the hill off to the side. So I witnessed the interpretive dance that was Stations of the Cross. It's not my thing. I'll just say that. I would much rather see like Bloody Jesus, please. Just bring us back to that and let us really have reverence for what Jesus endured for us. But there was beautiful music yet again.
There was.
Yeah. Incredibly beautiful.
I agree. I think that the interpretive dance was not my thing. And I think it maybe took away from prayer a little bit because it felt more like a show.
Yeah, we also didn't have, I didn't have any translation on this because I wasn't with you guys. So I was way out of the range of our translator thing. So maybe it would have been better if I could actually hear and understand what they were saying.
Yeah, we were on the bus together, right? We sat by each other. Were we together for Stations of the Cross, Grace?
I was near Monica.
Okay.
I was near Hermana Nesaret.
Okay.
And we were down near like the fencing.
Yes.
And we had full view of a screen, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was amazing.
Well, at the end of the day, we did pray Stations of the Cross with the Pope.
Yeah,
for sure.
With 800,000 people.
Yeah, it was a lot of people.
I mean, that one was kind of a moment for me where I was a little bit bitter. Like, why are you all here if you're just going to keep laying on the ground?
Yeah.
Like, if you're not even going to stand up because you're just in the way.
Yeah, I was in a spot. I asked this because where I was at, there was a spot of like 3 trash cans in front of us. And there was like people like sitting on the trash cans. I think they were from France. They were like sitting on the trash can. And they were just talking the whole time, just like not even looking at the screen that we had full view of, not praying at all. There was like a group over to our left that was like smoking and drinking, and then a group to our right was just like trading with people, like stopping them as they passed by to like try to do that. And I was just so sad. And then like hearing a little bit of the interpretations of like the things that they connected was just like I remember the Veronica's station with like her veil. They talked about like the mask that we put on to like how we try to like show face in the world. And it's just like if it is like what you were saying, like I would rather just have had Bloody Jesus with Veronica on her veil on the stage. But that was a big grace to then like realize, not look at them with like judgment, but actually like then pray for them, like and pray for their conversion. Yeah.
So I was definitely really grateful for our group as well. I mean, after that long day of feeling very alone, which I accepted and I understood. I mean, it's a Friday, right? The day of our Lord's Passion. We then made our way to our meeting spot. As we've covered, we did a lot of dancing. So, being reunited with friends and having that fun and that joy. And then we made our way back. We were told to go to the church where we had met earlier in the week for a surprise. And I don't know about you guys, but I knew right away we were going to do praise and worship adoration. Did you guys know?
I was told that we were going to have adoration. I was naive to think that it was going to be silent adoration.
Yes, I also thought it was going to be silent adoration.
Foolish you are.
Because that day I had said, Jesus, I would like some silent adoration. So I thought, he's answering my prayers. It was not silent.
It was just as loud as the first one.
Yeah, so what would typically happen in the evening is we would take various buses back to, on this evening, the church or the school. So, I was on one, and then we got off. We had some downtime, which was nice, with a couple friends. Shout out to Carla, our new friend from Mallorca.
Yes.
Yeah, and Nick was there, Amanda. That's who I was with at that time. So we're hanging out, and then we get on another bus. We get to the church. I walked in at the moment of exposition, which was very special for me. I was like, wow, Jesus, you're here. Like, I really felt that. And I dropped to my knees, like, instantly, and I just kind of inched forward on my knees. Like, I really had this joy of, like, being reunited with Jesus, which definitely was a new experience, like a new feeling. And the first song that the musicians played was Holy Spirit, You Are Welcome Here, which for me, Tricia, was the song that I was wanting to sing this entire trip, because there's all these beautiful Spanish songs, but that was my song. I was like, if I could sing for this community, that's what I would sing. So I got up and I was like, I am going straight for the musicians. I dropped my backpack on the ground. There were like folding chairs on the side of this church, kind of raised, like on risers where the musicians were. And I swooped in right behind Nazareth, great sister who can sing and play, and started singing with them. She turned and was like, you're here. Like, it felt like, I was welcome for sure. And then I was a part of the music, which it was amazing. And we had Brother Ignacio right behind me, who was leading the praise. Because whenever they do this, they really praise Jesus, like over and over and over, like just all his goodness, the way he saved us, everything he's given us. And then they thank Jesus as well. And they invite you to participate in this. So whether you can fully understand Spanish or not, I think you know what is happening, and it's very encouraging. And it was very loud because, there's two guitars in front of me, the drums to my right, Ignacio's behind me, and Santiago was playing his accordion right to my front left, which I absolutely love.
Yes.
Santiago. So there was a ton of energy. I loved it. I don't know. I was free. Like, it just, for me, that was like such a freeing experience, like so fun, so joyful. I also, I'm going to say encouraged my friend Nick to come and sit next to me, and he agreed. Like, he followed me over there, and props to him because he did that. And then I gave him little things like, you can stand up, like you can sway. Like, I even whispered to him, I know you like to dance, because it's uncomfortable as an American. We're not used to it. I get it, but I have gone through it myself. I've had those like walls kind of be broken down. And there's a lot of joy when you can free yourself of, I'm not sure that I understand this, and everybody's watching me, which maybe I did now put him more in the view of other people by bringing him up there. But we also had the view of the whole church from there, which was really cool to see all the joy and like just the happiness. So,
yeah.
That was not my experience.
Me neither.
I got in there, and it was, I think, 10:30 when we got in there, and I was just really excited to just rest with Jesus, and I was really thinking that it was going to be silent adoration. And so when they started, I was like, dang it. Just because, like, I just really wanted to just have silent time with Jesus. I actually, it was hard for a couple minutes. I was like, Jesus, I'm gonna walk out. But I didn't want to, because he was exposing the monstrance, and I didn't want him to like see it as like me walking out on him, because I wanted to pray to him. But eventually I was like, Lord, I'm not going to be able to pray to you tonight. And so I walked outside, and there was a statue with like a podium, and I just like sat there. And it was just like by the rooftops of Lisbon, the stars were out. And I have a very imaginative prayer, and like as soon as like I closed my eyes, I could like see Jesus walking to me at the podium, and I'm like, okay, you're like you were saying, like, you're coming to me, like you're still gonna meet me where I'm at. But there was like a very silent like backwind sound of what was going on inside, and I was like, this is nice.
That's nice. Yeah.
But like I needed that quiet time with him.
For me, I think it wasn't restful, but it was definitely reflecting on it afterward, definitely a moment where God was showing me the power that he has, because the whole experience, I mean, there's spiritual warfare going on all the time, but especially at events like World Youth Day, where the enemy does not want you there. And I had been feeling that very much so the entire trip. And the praise and worship definitely was God really showing me the power that he has. And then almost like taking away my fear of that spiritual warfare, because I know that he's so powerful and he can defeat anything. Like he wins in the end. And I think that was really powerful for me, but it wasn't peaceful and restful like Lauren had, but I'm glad you had that, Lauren.
For me, it was like joy, excitement. Here we go. But then afterwards, I spent like at least an hour, I want to say, in like a really restful prayer, almost like a recovery.
That's nice. Yeah,
it was. All right, but let's move on. To Saturday, the big day. Okay, lots of build up for this day. We packed up our bags. We were now going to be sleeping in a field. They were smart to bring us to a grocery store. So we got some food because they were like, we don't know what they're going to give you. You know, World Youth Day provided us with food. But we stopped at a grocery store, and then we took 3 different buses I took to get out to the park, which was northeast of Lisbon. It was called Tejo Park along a river. And we journeyed in with several thousand other pilgrims. We picked up this bag of really random items of food.
There was a lot of food in there.
There was. I was not expecting
such weird options, though.
Yeah.
But anyway, we don't have to get into that. And then we make our way into the park. We were A4, but A4 was filled up. So we were moved to A8, and it was kind of chaos of like, where do we put our stuff? And, laying out our sleeping pads and everything. But we got that accomplished. And then we were told to like condense, get smaller, bring closer in, because more and more groups just kept coming. And I just was thinking at a certain point, like, you're too late, just go home, there's no more room. But there wasn't room, and people ended up sleeping in the walkways and in the area next to the bathrooms.
You could
big field area.
No.
You could not walk on the grass.
Yeah, there were people everywhere.
Yeah.
I was sandwiched in between Grace and a Hungarian man.
Yeah.
That was an odd feeling to wake up to the next day.
I was definitely uneasy that we were not like totally in Ham, like surrounded by Ham. There was, people around, but we survived it. It actually was a beautiful night. I think this to me was the most fun because there was so much anticipation and build up. And honestly, I didn't even know that we were really doing it because I heard like not everybody does it. And I was like, no, we're doing it. We're sleeping in the field. And then when the vigil actually started, the beautiful music began, and there was this whole boat parade along the river going straight into the headwind, which I thought was hilarious. They were like these old style boats, I don't know, and they brought in the cross that they had at the other park. And then there were, a concert where we're dancing to Hakuna again.
Yeah.
The sun is setting. Then the Pope arrives. He spoke again. There was adoration. There was a whole cool light show with drones.
Yeah. Felt like a big sleepover, to be honest with you.
With 1 million people.
Yeah.
1.5 million.
Well, I heard 1 million Saturday night, 1.5 on Sunday.
Oh, wow.
But, debate me on that. I don't know. That's what I heard. Yeah, no, I mean, the amount of people is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Just people everywhere.
Yeah. There were miles of people. There was a whole river in between the 2 fields of all the sectors. I think there were up to D, right? A, B, C, D.
Yeah. We were close where we could actually see the stage / altar, which was cool.
And we had grass. Other people had rocks.
Or mud.
Yep.
Or mud.
Because the water stations were definitely leaking.
Yeah.
I was worried that water was going to make it down to us further down the hill, but it did not. We were safe.
And I think I slept the best I had ever slept, like the whole trip. What about you guys?
The night. I slept great every night. Grace gave me a melatonin pill.
What is wrong with you guys?
I slept better there than I do here.
Yeah.
I barely slept. I mean, I had my backpack right next to me, which I was shielding one of the headlights from like 2 fields over because that's how much light affects me. And I woke up several times like someone's going to steal my bag. I did not feel safe.
I did not think about that the entire time.
I can't turn my brain off.
Yeah.
Even when I'm sleeping. But then we awoke.
We did.
Yeah.
Before the sunrise, I did. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
Before the sun had actually
before the
risen,
sun.
like it's like sit up and there's the water, and then the sun rose.
sun
Like
right
it
there.
was so beautiful.
It was.
And then the techno music began.
Yeah.
6:30 a.m.
That was a
Techno
real
music.
thing. I've been asked, oh, you heard the techno music? Yes.
Yes.
I heard the techno
6:30
music.
in the
You
morning.
could not
No.
hear. It's not like you had
Yeah. And then, I mean, they woke us up at, I think by 6:30 a.m.
Yeah, 6:30.
We were up before that, but I know Grace and I were. And then Mass started at 9.
Yep.
I'm not really sure what all happened
We
in that time, but
waited in line for the bathroom. And that, which I was actually very pleasantly surprised by the bathrooms. They were pretty good.
they were kind of nasty the night before around 1 a.m., I will tell you. But I was able to search and find a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys went to sleep either.
Oh, I just went right
Like
to sleep.
they played a movie at
Really went to
11:30 that did not end until 1:06 a.m.
Really?
I did not.
I slept
Really?
right
I
through
was
it.
out. Yeah.
And the speakers were loud, okay? Like
Yeah.
loud
I slept right
volume,
through it.
and thousands of people are able to sleep with this.
Yeah.
I cannot. I went for a walk.
You did?
Yeah. I mean, I went up to the stage
Yeah.
and I took like a picture and kind of walked around, and people were still dancing, and
Yeah.
Jeez.
there were free hugs. There was a lot happening. Yeah.
And then we
I
woke
did
up.
eventually lay down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we woke up.
We had the mass.
We had the Mass.
It was very, very hot.
It was very hot.
Very hot.
There was a point where I was like, Tricia, suck it up. Like, this is Mass with the Pope. Like, why are you being, like, it's been hot the whole time. No,
It was hot.
like, it was
That
the hottest day of the time.
Yeah,
Yes.
the heat really turned up, and the
And then I gave
sun just
myself mercy.
continued to rise, you know, and it
did.
was beating
Yeah.
on
It
our
did.
backs.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy that Mass. I went and sat next to my friend Nick, who I had invited to come on the pilgrimage, and he had brought 2 guys in, one who I knew and one who I met through this experience, and that was nice for me to sit with them. Like a good kind of closure thing. I went to share my translator because I knew one of them, theirs had died, and then of course I lost signal. Like that
no.
kept happening a lot, you know.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I would do the prayer of like, if there's some interference happening here, like please stop in the name of Jesus, you know. But also Juan Bautista was next to David, who was on my left, so I heard that a little bit. But it was a nice experience to be with them. And then at the time of communion,
Is he next to you?
yes, literally right to my left.
Came to Lauren.
Yes, right. And like, again, there's thousands of people here, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, here we go again. He's right here. So we were able to receive communion really quickly. And then Michael started picking up the sleeping stuff. And I'm like, is that necessary? It was necessary because there were lines of people coming now
Yeah.
towards right in our spot.
Yeah.
From all directions. And the lines were long because there were so many people.
Yeah.
Like so many who didn't make it into one of the designated areas. So they were like sleeping in the walkways and whatever. So I think all those people were coming in.
Yes. Yeah. It was an experience.
I don't know if everyone received,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
I think I went to like 2 different lines before I actually was able to receive because they kept running out of communion.
Oh,
So I had to go to a couple different lines to get in there.
yeah, I don't know.
It's just the blessing of so
We
many
were
people
fortunate.
being there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was a good experience. I mean, I was disappointed that there were still people sleeping, laying down in their sleeping bags, and it kind of felt like we should be going somewhere else or like all the sleeping stuff should be put away. But as far as the logistics go, I mean, 1.5 million people all gathered. Like, you can't move that many people at that point. I mean, and we held vigil overnight, which I think is pretty special, and celebrated Mass with the Pope.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then we had the rest of the day
Just free.
free.
We made our way out,
Yeah.
which was not easy, but we eventually got an Uber. We had to walk for a while. We got an Uber. We went to a square.
We split off into groups. The ones that were over 18.
Yeah.
We were able to go out until 7:30 at night.
And it was nice because we were like, what are we going to do with all this freedom?
Yes.
And we had like a
It was
list of
like
like
4
5
hours.
things that we wanted, 5 or 6 things we wanted to do in the
Yeah.
day.
It
And
was
we
fun.
did all of them.
Yeah, we did. We had cod.
We had cod.
You guys
got
did.
gelato.
Yeah, we had cod.
I was grumpy that day, but I realized 2 days later that I had a fever.
Yes, you were sick.
No.
I was coming down, like my throat was already sore and the cough was starting. But 2 days later, someone else on the trip was like, I had a fever last night. And I'm like, wait a minute. There was a moment after the Mass where Father Israel was like, I'm going to get water. You want to walk with me? And I'm like, yeah, like my head is burning and I cannot cool it down. And I'm not someone who's affected by heat really.
Yeah.
So I didn't know at the time, but I had a fever and I was totally exhausted. I did not sleep really much the night before. And I was carrying a heavy backpack with a heavy bag because the organizers of the event, I guess, ran out of food. And then our community brought in more food. And they're like, hey, we have extra food. Will you carry some? So of course I did. And then I ended up carrying it all day.
Aw.
And my foot hurt. I mean, I have a lingering heel injury, and then it would like switch feet so that my right foot was killing me. Like that was a rough afternoon, and you guys endured me, so I appreciate that. But when they wanted to go eat in a restaurant, I was like, I can't. Like I cannot just even sit and like be served and have the patience to wait. So Janelle and I went and grabbed a sandwich, and then I sat in the street for like an hour and just listened to live music, which was, I think, really peaceful. But it did, I don't know, I had a reflection, like, because I'm sitting in the street kind of like a homeless person, you know, like on the street with my stuff. And I don't know, I just kind of felt like anything I think I deserve, I don't deserve it. That's like what struck me there, which I think is a good reflection, because we can tend to feel like we're owed things or whatnot. And I just, no, it's like I am nothing, but God is everything, and He created me and He lives in me. Yeah. And like that's my sense of worth. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. And then that day finished.
It did.
At the beach.
At the beach. It was very cold water.
It was awesome.
I loved it.
And again, we weren't waiting for the brothers to come back, so we got the Uber.
Yes.
We like were driving past, and the streets were kind of like random in their direction, where we had to like make a U-turn to get dropped off at the beach.
Yeah.
And then so we were passing it, and our driver was like, "There's the beach." And I looked over, I'm like, "Sir, there is no beach there. Like that is a straight drop off into water." But that was awesome, because like the whole trip was an adventure. Even like a relaxing time at the beach, we had to like climb over rocks and hold onto a pipe just to get to the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I showed up with my frisbee.
Yes, you did.
And Juan Bautista, who had been talking all week, Lauren, we're going to play a game. Lauren, this was the time. So the brothers split into two teams. I reffed. I know better than to run around with men who don't quite know the rules and are really excited, full of energy. So I kind of watched them, but it was a delight. It was a joy. They were like, they loved it. They absolutely loved it. And so I didn't go swimming like you all did, but telling you, like the last person who threw me a disc, because I was throwing a little bit with them, you know, he sent me like into the water to my waist. And I'm like, so there we go. I couldn't get out of not getting wet here, even though I tried, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, that was a ton of fun. And then we went back to the school. We had dinner.
More pizza.
You all had
McDonald's
pizza, but I picked up a second meal. I picked up a meal earlier with Janelle, so I had a sandwich and like a pastry. So we ate, and then we had some free time that night with the community, and they were playing music, and I danced with a group of them in a circle. It's a very simple step dance, in and out, like with a spin. And I don't know, to me, I just felt like this is heaven. Like one of the talks earlier in the week was, you know, God is calling you and asking you to live for Him, right? To live a spiritual life, to live heaven now. The world offers you happiness, but it gives you sin. That's what the world leads you to, is sin. And that doesn't fulfill you. That doesn't make you happy. That just draws you away from God. And the simplicity, the joy, the innocence, you know, I mean, we're all exhausted at this point. We went through the whole week together, but we've now bonded, and the music was very uplifting. And I just felt like this is heaven right here. We don't need to be out downtown anywhere. Like we don't need to drink. Like we didn't drink on the entire trip. Like we were on pilgrimage with the community, and they don't drink. And we were joyful then and the entire time, you know, despite everything, all the challenges. Like I had said, it was a rough day for me, being sick and tired and in pain. But God was so present.
And honestly, reflecting back on each day, we really didn't do a lot. We really walked and took trains and buses and went to an event, ate food, went back. Yeah. But it felt so fulfilling. Like, just talking to people, having conversations along the way, and just the simplicity of it was just really fulfilling. Yeah.
Yeah. So from there, we went on to Fatima, which was an amazing experience, but we don't have time to share that here. So if you ever, you know, see us in person anywhere, we'll fill you in. But thank you so much for listening to our World Youth Day recap. I would strongly encourage you to go on pilgrimage, whatever that might be. Be willing to surrender your schedule, your comforts, and open yourself up to the Lord, because He has a lot to give you. You can catch us on 1350 AM radio, 103.9 FM, or wherever you get your podcasts. So please subscribe on Spotify. Do you guys subscribe? You're going to start. Apple
am now.
Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Subscribe and give us a 5-star review. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you next time.